Well, hey there. I'm Jonathan Atwell, lead pastor of CrossRoads Church, and today we are wrapping up week 1 of walking alongside you through the opening chapter of Luke. So don't forget to take a few minutes today and look back through your week and find something that you'll share with somebody in your life. Maybe Sunday morning at church, or maybe in a small group, or maybe somebody in your life who needs to trust in Jesus and follow Him. Well, in today's video, we're going to take a look at 4 little verses here in Luke chapter 1, Luke 1, 24 through 27. And I want to ask you to read them with those 4 questions in mind that we've been talking about this week. Remember them? What jumped out at you? What does God say? What does it say about God? What does it say about people? And how do you need to respond? So go ahead and pause the video right now and read Luke 1, 24 through 27 with those questions in mind. And then we're going to talk about those verses together. Okay, well, now that you have read those verses, what jumped out at you? Pause for a moment and write down some notes in your notebook. You know what jumped out at me? Elizabeth's joy jumped out at me. A few Sundays ago, we read Psalm 67 on Sunday morning. And in Psalm 67, the psalmist is writing about God's blessing and God's people. And he writes about the nations. He says, "Let the nations be glad and sing for joy." You know, that's what our God does for us. Joy and gladness. And of course, Jesus warns us that sometimes that joy and gladness is going to come through tears. But it's still joy and gladness. Those are always God's gifts. Did something else jump out at you? What about what this says about God? Question 2, what does this say about God? Did you see how Luke tied the lives of these 2 women together? They were cousins. They were both faithful to their beliefs in the way they lived their lives. And God used them both to bring His kingdom. What else does it say about God? Take just a moment to respond for yourself. Then question number 3, what does it say about people? What did you notice? Pause a moment and reflect on that, and then let's talk about it. You know what I noticed? I noticed that God's work relates us to one another in kingdom ways. These women who were cousins, man, now they were even closer because they share a bond in God's work. Wow. Man, there are men and women I walk alongside doing God's work here at CrossRoads that I share closer bonds with than some of my blood relatives. And that's one of my favorite realities of being part of God's church. I have friends who are closer than a brother because God's work and His mission and His adoption into His family together have made us that way. Question 4, how do you need to respond? Can I leave that one to you today? As a matter of fact, I want to challenge you to maybe put your response in the comments of this video. How do you need to respond? Or maybe one of your other answers to one of our 4 questions today. Man, it might really be encouraging to somebody else watching this video if you take a minute and just leave those in the comments. And don't forget today to look back over your week and to share something that you've learned, or maybe some way that you've responded in your own life. Don't forget to share that this week with somebody in your life. Maybe somebody at church on Sunday morning, maybe somebody in your small group. Well, thanks again for walking alongside me in God's Word this week. Have a great day discovering Jesus. And if you live in North Texas, come see us here at CrossRoads Church this Sunday. See you next week.